In films, the rules of continuity are a set of conventions that were fixed over time. The spectator needs to enter this fictional world of the film and buy into the story that unfolds. In this video, we are going to explore a key concept within this continuity world, the axis of action. What is the axis of action? Very importantly, the axis of action ensures constant screen space and constant screen direction. In other words, it provides the basic orientation clues for the spectator. This drawing shows the different camera positions in a traditional shot reverse shot setup. Position 1 is the establishing shot. Positions 2 and 3 are over-the-shoulder shots showing each character. The white area is where you can potentially place the camera, using an imaginary line between the characters as your point of reference, the axis of action. If you place the camera anywhere inside this white space, you don't cross the axis of action and you maintain screen space direction. Going to the other gray side, as shown in the wrong camera position in the diagram, changes dramatically the position of the characters in the frame, potentially disorienting the spectator. Let's see a couple of practical cases. First, a scene from Hitchcock's Psycho.
Thank you. You're very kind.
It's all for you. I'm not hungry. Go ahead. You eat like a bird.
You'd know, of course.
No, not really. Anyway, I hear the expression eats like a bird. It's really a falsity. Because birds really eat a tremendous lot. But I don't really know anything about birds. My hobby is stuffing things. You know, taxidermy. And I guess I'd just rather stuff birds because I hate the look of beasts when they're stuffed. You know, foxes and chimps. Some people even stuff dogs and cats, but oh, I can't do that. I think only birds look well stuffed because they're kind of passive to begin with.
It's a strange hobby. Curious.
Uncommon, too.
Oh, I imagine so.
And it's not as expensive as you'd think. It's cheap, really. You know, needles, thread, sawdust. The chemicals are the only thing that cost anything.
A man should have a hobby.
Well, it's more than a hobby. A hobby's supposed to pass the time, not fill it.
Is your time so empty?
No. Well, I run the office and tend the cabins and grounds and do little errands for my mother, the ones she allows I might be capable of doing.
Do you go out with friends?
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother. You've never had an empty moment in your entire life, have you?
Only my share.
Where are you going? I didn't mean to pry.
I'm looking for a private island.
What are you running away from?
Why do you ask that?
No. People never run away from anything. The rain didn't last long, did it? You know what I think? I think that we're all in our private traps, clamped in them, and none of us can ever get out. We scratch and claw, but only at the air, only at each other. And for all of it, we never budge an inch.
Sometimes we deliberately step into those traps.
I was born in mine. I don't mind it anymore.
Oh, but you should. You should mind it.
Oh, I do. But I say I don't.
You know, if anyone ever talked to me the way I heard, the way she spoke to you.
Let's stop for a second and review the 3 shots we have seen so far. First, an establishing shot of the 2 characters sitting down. Then, a low-angle shot of Norman and a low-angle shot of Marion. There is another, more subtle change. It looks like the shot is the same, his first low-angle shot, but if you pay attention, you'll see how the candle, for example, is in a different position. Consequently, there is a 4th camera position, very similar to Norman's first low-angle shot. This minimal variation allows Hitchcock to accommodate Norman's change of position within the composition. As the conversation unfolds, he grows in intensity. Hitchcock varies his camera positions accordingly.
Sometimes, when she talks to me like that, I feel I'd like to go up there and curse her and leave her forever. Or at least defy her.
Still, from a low angle, the camera has gotten closer to Norman and then to Marion. Notice that in Norman's background, the presence of birds grows in importance. Let's go on.
But I know I can't. She's ill.
She sounded strong.
No, I mean, ill. She had to raise me all by herself up till my father died. I was only 5, and it must have been quite a strain for her. She didn't have to go to work or anything like that. He left her a little money. Anyway, a few years ago, Mother met this man, and he talked her into building this motel. He could have talked her into anything. And when he died, too, it was just too great a shock for her. And the way he died. I guess it's nothing to talk about while you're eating. Anyway, it was just too great a loss for her. She had nothing left.
Except you.
Well, a son is a poor substitute for a lover.
Why don't you go away?
To a private island like you?
No. Not like me.
I couldn't do that. Who'd look after her? She'd be alone up there. The fire would go out. It'd be cold and damp like a grave. If you love someone, you don't do that to them even if you hate them. You understand? I don't hate her. I hate what she's become. I hate the illness.
Wouldn't it be better if you put her someplace?
Now, Marion has suggested to put Norman's mother in a mental institution. The camera reacts with the character. Norman is upset. Now we have a close-up. Pay attention to the intensity of his eyes. As the action unfolds, his movement makes him grow in the frame.
You mean an institution? A madhouse? People always call a madhouse someplace, don't they? Put her in someplace.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean it to sound uncaring.
What do you know about caring?
Isn't a bird talking into his ear? Keep this idea in mind.
Have you ever seen the inside of one of those places? The laughing and the tears, and the cruel eyes studying you. My mother there. But she's harmless. She's as harmless as one of those stuffed birds.
I am sorry. I only felt... It seems she's hurting you. I meant well.
People always mean well. They cluck their thick tongues and shake their heads and suggest oh so very delicately. Of course, I've suggested it myself. But I hate to even think about it. She needs me. It's not as if she were a maniac, a raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
Yes. Sometimes just one time can be enough. Thank you,
Thank you, Norman.
Norman.
Oh, you're not going back to your room already?
I'm very tired. And I'll have a long drive tomorrow, all the way back to Phoenix.
Really?
I stepped into a private trap back there, and I'd like to go back and try to pull myself out of it. Before it's too late for me, too.
Are you sure you wouldn't like to stay just a little while longer? Just for talk?
I'd like to, but...
All right. Well, I'll see you in the morning. I'll bring you some breakfast, all right? What time?
Very early.
And yet, in the end of the conversation, Norman seems to relax. Hitchcock changes the camera position accordingly. We see him through a high-angle shot. Marion is shown, conversely, through a low angle, apparently empowered. Yet, pay attention to the bird. Isn't the bird biting her neck? As she leaves the room, the camera will stay with Norman for the first time in the whole film. It has become his story. The next sequence of the film is the famous shower scene. Staying within the rules of continuity editing, Hitchcock has used a classical pattern, respecting the axis of action and giving us key emotional and intellectual information about both characters. He has also anticipated Marion's impending death. The second example is from The Shining by Stanley Kubrick. The main character and a waiter are walking into a bathroom.
Awfully nice of you to say. Of course, I intended to change my jacket this evening before the fish and goose soiree.
Very wise, sir. Very wise.
Here, I'll just hold this for you there.
Oh.
To use it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, let's see if we can improve this with a little water, sir.
All right, I'll just set my bourbon and advocat down right there.
Won't keep you a moment, sir.
Fine. What do they call you around here, Jeevesy?
Grady, sir. Delbert Grady.
First, an establishing shot. However, in the next shot, Kubrick crosses the line. Why does he do this? He privileged performance over anything else. How does he get away with it? First, we are in a totally symmetrical space. Second, it's all red, so the spectator is not easily disoriented. Third, there is a continuity of action on the character's behalf as the cut happens, a match cut. Fourth, key information has been given in the conversation, so the spectator's attention is likely to concentrate on the story. Fifth, there has been a change of scale from a wider shot to a closer shot. Let's keep rolling.
Grady?
Yes, sir.
Delbert Grady.
That's right, sir.
Mr. Grady, haven't I seen you somewhere before?
Why, no, sir. I don't believe so. Aha. It's coming off now, sir.
Mr. Grady, weren't you once the caretaker here?
Why, no, sir. I don't believe so.
You, married man, are you, Mr. Grady?
Yes, sir. I have a wife and 2 daughters, sir.
And, where are they now?
Oh, they're somewhere around. I'm not quite sure at the moment, sir.
Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here. I recognize you. I saw your picture in the newspapers. You, chopped your wife and daughter up into little bits. And, then you blew your brains out.
That's strange, sir. I don't have any recollection of that at all.
Mr. Grady, you were the caretaker here.
I'm sorry to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker.
Kubrick crosses the line again, for the second time. It happens again when key information about the story is given. In addition, as in the first case, there is a change of scale. We get closer to the characters. Finally, he shows a close-up of each character without crossing the line.
I should know, sir. I've always been here. Did you know, Mr. Torrance, that your son is attempting to bring an outside party into this situation? Did you know that?
No.
He is, Mr. Torrance.
Who?
A nigger.
A nigger?
A nigger cook. Your son has a very great talent. I don't think you are aware how great it is. But he is attempting to use that very talent against your will.
He is a very willful boy.
Indeed he is, Mr. Torrance. A very willful boy. A rather naughty boy, if I may be so bold, sir.
It's his mother. She, interferes.
The proximity of the camera registers the dramatic intensity of the situation. To conclude, the axis of action is a convention. Sometimes filmmakers break this norm to convey certain meanings, but most of the time it's fully operative in the majority of fictional narrative filmmaking today.